Happy hump day, my friends, and welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. I'm your coach, your host, David On Point Huppin. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. On today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be bringing you our mock draft 2.0. So yeah, go ahead and check that stuff out. Also, if you go and check out the Prime Sports World website, well, right now you can find Izzy's mock draft. I will go through it in this show until he joins. But yeah, TJ's also joining here in the show as we break down our mock draft 2.0. I'm going to start with mine. I just put together a brand new mock draft. I put it together last night. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a fun mock draft. I think this will get people talking as I have some trades in this one, unlike the other one that I did 2 weeks ago. So keep an eye out for that content. Let's get right into it without wasting any time. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. They're the number one team on the clock. They're just ready. They have the number one pick. They're taking Caleb Williams, period. I don't know what you think about him as a prospect or as a human being, but he's going to be a football player that's going to be a member of the Chicago Bears. And I think he has all the intangibles to be a really good quarterback. He's got the rocket arm. He can make plays off kilter that people love. Hold on, sorry. All right. But yeah, Caleb Williams is like, thank you very much to my aunt for giving us a like there on the podcast. We do appreciate your constant viewership. It makes me very, very happy to see that my aunt continues to check out this podcast. Caleb Williams is also, if you go over to the mock draft show, he's going to be a Chicago Bear. He has all the intangibles to be an elite football player. He's thick. He's got muscle. He's got a natural throw. He's got a real rocket for his throwing arm. All the concerns about he didn't do any of the stuff at the combine. He didn't do any of the stuff at the pro day. It doesn't matter. He's going to be the number one pick. The Bears have moved off of Justin Fields. They've also surrounded Caleb Williams with the most talent a rookie quarterback might be walking into in the history of the NFL. So that's a good prospect for him right there. Moving on to the Washington Commanders, who have the second overall pick. Swinging into Izzy's mock draft, he has them taking Jaden Daniels at LSU. The league is pretty 50. If you go read his article, 50-50 on Daniels / Drake May. One of those guys is going to be one of those guys, or two. One of those guys is going to be three. I went with Jaden Daniels as well. I think that he has the upside that I don't think you see out of Drake May. He's got those intangibles. I think his ceiling is higher than Drake May's. He's just got that crazy athletic ability, and he can just make some plays that are just absolute craziness. And I think Washington, if you're trying to get a new ownership, a new regime, and you want to kind of get people to show up in the stadium, you need to have somebody who's going to put asses in seats. I think Jaden Daniels is that guy. Moving on from there, we're going to swing into the New England Patriots as the Bill Belichick era has come to an end there in New England, and the I'm blanking on his name. Oh no, Drod Mayo. Yeah, Drod Mayo is the head coach of that football team now. That era has now started for the New England Patriots. And let's see if I got the little. Oh, I got the little echo. I got the thing. This is where I have the first trade in my mock draft. And yes, it's the Minnesota Vikings trading up to number 3. They're going to have to give up their first round pick, both their first round picks, and a third in order to move up to take Drake May. I know there is a lot of hype around. I also think there's a lot of hype around potentially Minnesota trading for Kyler Murray too, to not have to reset their football franchise, because I think they still want to be a team that's competitive. And Kyler Murray, out of all the quarterbacks that are in quote unquote in play for Minnesota, he gives them the best opportunity to win now. But yeah, I mean, Drake May has got all the intangibles. I know he's fallen in a lot of people's mock drafts, but the guy has the prototypical size. He's got the prototypical athleticism. He's got the arm strength. I mean, he just makes some plays that you just don't see very often. I mean, he's got some footwork stuff to clean up, but he should be a guy that goes in there and is immediately a contributor on that offense for the Minnesota Vikings. I got Drake May as the Minnesota Vikings trade up. They trade up basically 2 first-round picks and a third in order to move up to the third-round pick, the third overall pick, and take the Patriots the spot there and take Drake May. Into Izzy's mock draft, he has them taking the other quarterback that I talked about in the earlier. He also has them taking Drake May, but this is the pick made by the New England Patriots. Patriots go with the safer pick here. Dual threat quarterback with a very strong arm. Cannot hate on that selection. To the Arizona Cardinals, and the Arizona Cardinals have a lot of things that they could do with this pick. They could bolster their offensive line. I've seen a lot of links, like trades, featuring the Arizona Cardinals in this pick. But I have them staying here, and I have them taking the best prospect probably in this year's draft with Marvin Harrison Jr. If Izzy were on the show, he called him Maserati Marv. But also Izzy on his mock draft, you go over to that website over there, Prime Sports World, mg.com. You can look at his Maserati is the best wideout in this class. He may be the best wideout prospect since Calvin Johnson. The dude can just straight up play football. Swinging into the Los Angeles Chargers, and Izzy got a trade in his mock draft. This is where he has the Minnesota Vikings moving up, trading up with the Los Angeles Chargers. I imagine the trade package will look very similar. 11 and 23 to the Chargers in order to move up 6 spots with the Chargers. They take JJ McCarthy, the quarterback out of Michigan. Minnesota gets their quarterback. They get the guy that they can groom there with Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. I like that selection. I have going swinging back into it. Play the graphic. I have it up here, but I have the Raiders, the Los Angeles Chargers. You would think, the Los Angeles Chargers, no way they would trade within the division, but they don't need a quarterback. And I think if you're the Los Angeles Chargers, I think you need to have draft capital. You need to put a talented team, as this is a team that wants to win right away. And you lost all your wide receivers. Your offensive line is kind of in shambles. You need more draft assets. And if you have to make a trade with the team in your division in order to get that done, I think that's worth it. The Raiders trade pick 13 and pick 77 in order to get this trade done. And with that, the Las Vegas Raiders trade all the way up, and they take J.J. McCarthy as well at 6. But this time, he goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. I know they got Aiden O'Connell there, who's kind of a project quarterback. I know they signed Gardner Minshew, but J.J. McCarthy's kind of a project at the quarterback position. He's not ready to really start right away. So if the Raiders trade him, they can have him sit behind Gardner Minshew, who's a great mentor, as we saw with, his time in Philly. He's the guy that's a good locker room guy and a guy that can really help out this franchise. That's why I got the Las Vegas Raiders trading up. And then I got the New York Giants on the clock, and we swing into Izzy's mock draft. He has them taking the second best wide receiver in this class, Malik Neighbors. He is, the New York Giants have been looking for a wide receiver 1 for a real long time. This gives Daniel Jones a true number 1 threat, and you pair him up with there. I think this is a pretty good pick for the New York Football Giants. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I just screwed that up. I have Malik Neighbors going 5 to the Los Angeles Chargers. I apologize. I have JJ McCarthy coming here to the 6. I have the Raiders trading up with the New York Giants at 6. Man, I just screwed that up. It's all good. The Raiders trade up with the Giants. I'll just move on. To the Tennessee Titans around the clock, and this has been one of the most consistently mock draft players to spot I've seen this draft cycle. I have Joe Alt, the left tackle out of Notre Dame, going to the Tennessee Titans. They need to shore up that offensive line. He's the best pure left tackle in this. And I actually think the Tennessee Titans have low-key done a great job this offseason building that roster around Will Levis. He should have an opportunity to be pretty successful next season. Running game, we got Tony Pollard there. You got DeAndre Hopkins. You got Calvin Ridley. That's a team that could be competitive as early as next season. Like, there could be very little drop-off there for the Tennessee Titans. To the Atlanta Falcons, who are now on the clock and swinging back into my mock draft. And I have Jared Verse, the edge rusher out of Florida State. I think that this guy just has the highest ceiling out of anyone in this defensive player in this draft class. I think that he's just a man among boys. I think he will be a very good football player in the NFL. To Izzy's, he's got Jerzan Newton, the kid out of Illinois, reigning Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And that's some real high praise, thinking of those players that played in the Big Ten, with Michigan and Ohio State. He can play almost any scheme, and he gives them kind of presence that Atlanta has been kind of looking for since they lost Calais Campbell a few years ago. From there, we got the Chicago Bears on the clock, and it's my Chicago Bears. And that's right, I got another trade in my mock draft. Actually, this will be the final trade in this mock draft. And I got the Denver Broncos trading up with the Chicago Bears as the Bears need to acquire more draft capital, and they also need to have. Sorry, hold on a second. And the Bears need to get more draft capital. They don't currently have a third round pick, so they need to put some pieces around that team. The Denver Broncos trade pick 12 and their third round. Actually, let's go with their fourth round pick in order to move up three slots in order to take Bo Nix, quarterback out of Oregon. I know your question is, why would the Denver Broncos trade future draft capital in order to trade up over the Chicago Bears? Because the way my mock draft is worked out here, there are teams that are picking before them in between now and the Bears that could take a quarterback. I mean, we have Patriots who are picking now at 11 who could use a quarterback. If Bo Mix is there, they may be tempted to take him. There's also the New Orleans Saints that still need a quarterback. They could potentially trade up and trade in with the Chicago Bears and get their quarterback who can sit behind Derek Carr for a hot minute. There are just guys that they need to. There's just holes when it comes to the quarterback position. And I'll welcome in TJ Hopkins into the show. Welcome in, TJ. I don't know if you just heard the pick I just made. I traded this pick to the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos gave up a first and a third in order to move up to number 9, and they take Bo Nix, the quarterback out of Oregon. The Bears move back to 13 and acquire future draft capital. But if you're doing this mock draft, you got the Chicago Bears on the clock. What are you doing here?
Well, because my computer wanted to be slow and not allow me to join when you first sent the link. If I'm the Bears, I 100% see them. I can 100% see them trading back to acquire more future draft aspects. Well, future and current, I guess, would be the word, because they have no third round pick in this draft. I believe they also don't have a second.
Yep.
So I can see them trading this pick to get back into those rounds and get whatever future aspects they can get. But if this is me, obviously I think he probably stuck with Caleb Williams going first overall.
Yep.
If Roma Dunze's still on the board at 9, obviously you probably grab him. If Dallas Turner somehow falls to 9, you snatch him. That's where I see them going. They either go receiver or they go edge.
So in Izzy's mock draft, he has them going Dallas Turner, the edge rusher out of Alabama. He falls all the way to the Atlanta Falcons. But yeah, I like both those picks.
I think that's what they do. I like whoever's on the board, right?
Yeah. I think it's their best rated player available. Like the Bears are in a kind of interesting situation where they can kind of take the best player available. Like they've done a good job building this roster around a Caleb Williams. Like they can take, if they want to shore up their offensive line, if they want to shore up their running or wide receiving core, if they want to shore up their tight end room, if they want to shore up their edge rushers, like they could literally do anything they wanted with this pick. The ninth, it's kind of a luxury.
Absolutely.
To the New York Jets. Me and Izzy got him taking the same player. We got him taking Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. Just another weapon for Aaron Rodgers, and a weapon that kind of really elevates the ceiling of that roster. Brock Bowers may be the best tight end prospect we've seen since I'm not even sure. Kyle Pitts, but for sure since I don't know.
Me personally, I got them addressing the boys up front. I'm not wavering on that. I'm not changing on that, for the simple fact that it hasn't worked for them. Like, this combination of guys up front hasn't worked. And what good is having Aaron Rodgers if he's on the sideline? Like, part of the reason what led him to tearing his Achilles last season was the guys up front getting beat. Right? Like, Dwayne Brown got beat bad on a play that was supposed to be a simple 3-step drop, let it go. And yeah, Dwayne Brown got beat, and Rodgers tried to move out the pocket and snap, down it went. So I got them going Olu Fashanu, the left tackle out of Penn State. You already know how I feel about Mekhi Becton. Great story, but it hasn't worked. And you got to protect the investment.
Yep.
That is Aaron Rodgers.
To the 11th pick in this year's draft. And actually, me and Izzy have both made trades of this pick. I have this being the New England Patriots on the clock, and I have them taking Roma Dunze at 11, as they're now at 11. I had the Minnesota Vikings trade up all the way up to 3 and take Drake May. With their franchise quarterback there for the Minnesota Vikings. Roma Dunze owns up becoming a New England Patriot in my mock draft, and Izzy has this pick being traded as well. This time to the Chargers, and he also has Roma Dunze going to the Los Angeles Chargers, who I actually love. Both I love the idea behind both of those picks. Patriots get a wide receiver. I think they can figure out quarterback later, as you'll see in my mock draft. And the Chargers, they need to do something at wide receiver. They got to let everybody go. But if you're staying here with Minnesota, who do you got them taking?
Neither one. Like everybody wants to talk about the Bears and the moves they made. Like we're not finna act like whoever is the quarterback for the Vikings is not inheriting Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Like that's a pretty solid duo to be, to walk into as well, right? As well as T.J. Hawkinson at tight end.
Welcome to the show, Izzy. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
What's up? And if I'm them, I still like I don't know. Like you lose Danielle Hunter, like me personally, like their defense needs some work. So I go defense if I'm the Minnesota Vikings.
And as you already talked about your pick, so we'll just move to pick number 12. This is the Denver Broncos on the clock for you and TJ. It is not for me. It is the Chicago Bears on the clock, and they take Dallas Turner, who falls all the way to 12. He's still here, and the Bears pick up future draft capital, an additional third-round pick in this year's draft. They get Dallas Turner, and they basically the guy probably they would have taken at 9. The Broncos in my mock draft traded up to number 9 to take Bo Nix. The Bears get Dallas Turner, and they're awfully happy about that result. And how do you guys have the rest of this shaken out?
I necessarily didn't think the Broncos needed to trade up to 9 to get Bo Nix. I thought about it though. I thought about them like possibly making a trade too, David, to like 10 or something. Because obviously Chicago is going to get Caleb Williams. So, but yeah, I got them going with Bo Nix here. He falls to 12. Obviously, this is a need pick. Because Bo Nix after like them, New Orleans, I don't really see where Bo Nix falls to.
He could. New Orleans is a team that needs a quarterback.
Maybe Arizona later on in the first because they got
no way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like
I actually think there's a real possibility that Minnesota trades with Arizona and gets Kyler Murray. And hey, let's stay competitive now while we have Justin Jefferson still on his rookie contract. Let's try to win. Let's try to win a ship next season.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, Denver.
I got him going Bo Nix. This is like everybody's like he's like super on their radar. Like this is like the pick comes up, they're running up to get Bo Nix.
TJ.
I'm kind of with Izzy. I don't think they need to trade up to get Bo Nix. The way they're talking, like again, I can't put Drake May ahead of Bo Nix for the simple fact of like the body of work. But everybody's all like, oh, it's because Bo Nix stayed in college longer. Like, why are we punishing him for that? Like me personally, so like I'm going Bo Nix I was going Bo Nix in the original. I'm gonna go Bo Nix now. Like either that or JJ McCarthy. Because like me, remember in the first last mock draft, I had Bo Nix going like 3rd.
You know what I think a lot of teams like about Bo Nix too is like him being able, obviously it takes a couple years because he was at Oregon for a couple years, but him being able to switch, offensive coordinator, switch schemes. Even though in college they kind of pretty much play the same, almost damn near every team, almost. But like him being able to adapt to that Oregon style football from Auburn, it bodes well, at the next level, especially when there's change at that. Hopefully, there's not a lot of change at OC for them. So,
to pick number 13, where we got the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. At least in Izzy and TJ's mock draft, I actually have the Giants here because the Raiders traded up to take JJ McCarthy at 6. And Falasanu,
Fashanu,
is there for the Giants. I think they still need to
butcher his
shore up that
name
off.
up.
Yeah, my bad. I mean, Evan Neal hasn't. We don't really know what Evan Neal's going to be. He could move him out to guard. But I think the Giants, if you're going to be anything this season, you need to shore up that offensive line. And so give Daniel Jones an opportunity there. So Giants 13, Raiders.
I actually don't hate that. If I didn't have that one trade with Minnesota trading up for the Chargers, I would think that that would be that's actually a good trade, David, not gonna lie. I like that.
Yeah, the Raiders give up their first round pick and their third round pick in order to move up to take JJ McCarthy. As I mentioned when I said it earlier, I know they have Aiden O'Connell, I know they have Gardner Minshew, but neither of those guys are really the quote unquote future. JJ McCarthy has an opportunity to be that. So
I guess for me, I know I got them going with Terry and Arnold here. Moving into that range, I know I had them sliding in the earlier mock drafts. I think, some teams were kind of scared of the 4-5, but then when you think about it, Jalen Johnson, who for the Bears had a 4-5 one, he's about to get paid, right? Or he's getting paid.
He already got paid.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, and he's turned into a hell of a corner. They kind of have similar skill sets as well. And he showed he had like, outside of like some like bad drills that he had, because I know he was like second in line in the cornerback slot at the NFL Combine. He actually had a pretty decent combine where he was snagging balls. He had a good catch radius. He showed his ball skills. And then at the Alabama Pro Day, he pretty much turned heads as well. I mean, he's the best cornerback I think in the class, most sound cornerback in the class, outside cornerback. So I heard Antonio Pierce loves this kid. So
here's the thing. Like this is why, like real talent evaluators, real scouts, they not they not swayed by a bad pro day or combine or whatever. Film don't lie, and from going forward, I think if you a first round pick, whether you top 5 or bottom 5. Hey man, film don't lie. If you don't like if my film ain't produced, if my film ain't convinced you to draft me, then don't draft me. Because me running around in a shirt and shorts and a t-shirt ain't gonna change your mind. No, never mind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm the Raiders and if Terrion Arnold like that, because you said the key thing. Antonio Pierce loves the dude, right? Antonio Pierce loves it. So if you love the dude, go get the dude.
Yeah, and that's just like rumors like. Antonio Pierce, was at his pro day, like just like he was just like, just in NFL circles, just rumors that all over social media that Antonio Pierce is like really likes him at this pick if they keep it.
So. To number 14, we got the New Orleans Saints on the clock. I'm gonna move a little bit quicker here as we move through the latter part of the first round. Izzy, who do you got the Saints taking it in 14?
I have the Saints. Hold on, I got to pull up my mock draft as well because I just wrote it. And I don't know why. I don't know what by heart at the 14. But I got Washington.
The Saints at 14.
Yeah, Saints at 14. I got Troy Fautanu, Washington. Trevor Penning. Injury concerns. Had injuries.
Good. Hasn't been good either. So.
Hasn't been good either. Hasn't panned out. And then Ryan Ramchek's. Health on his knee. Questions on his knee.
Probably done for the season.
Yeah, so
Troy I also had the Saints going offensive line. I got J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama. As for all the reasons that Izzy said, the Ramczyk uncertainty, the Penning not working out or having to play right tackle or whatever they're going to do with him, but they got to do something with the offensive line.
No disagreements.
From there, we got the Indianapolis Colts on the clock, and I have them taking Quayon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo, because, yes, they did not trade for Ladarius Sneed, even though I said that over and over and over again. I thought that was like a done deal, and, yeah, that was some egg on my face. It for sure did not happen, but the Colts go corner because they need to shore up the secondary.
Yeah, I got them going the same thing. Quayon Mitchell, Toledo, best cover 3 corner in college football.
It ain't like they don't need it, for other reasons. Just putting that out there. I'm serious. Like did their division rival not just get a
we're good.
Heavy of wide receiver, like the other talent.
We'll talk about Buffalo when we get to their pick briefly. Moving, swinging off from there. Let's go to the Seattle Seahawks, who are currently on the clock. And TJ, who do you got Seattle taking here at 15?
I got Izzy's mock up, and he has Latu. If I'm them, you lose Bobby Wagner. That's a big hole to fill. Right? Like that's a voice, that's a leader in the locker room. But I also understand like you want a clean slate. Like that's like the last staple of the Pete Carroll era out of that locker room. And I don't mind the Latu pick, but I can 100% see them going linebacker. But I'm gonna agree with Izzy just for now because I can't think of a linebacker that's better at that spot than Latu.
They could take the kid from NC State with the last name Wilson.
Peyton Wilson,
but he feels like a reach at 16. So.
Yeah, that was my hope. I'm in total agreement with what TJ just said. They do need inside linebacker help, but it's like, are we gonna pass out? And David, you said we all say it all the time is that you can never have too many edge rushers. Right. Nope. And so getting a guy like Latu who had 13 sacks last year for UCLA, he's got a high motor, he's got great size, he fits in their defense. And I mean, you can always get a third or fourth round guy to fill in middle linebacker.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going offensive line here. I'm going the kid that's going to be coached by the guy who was recently his coach there at Washington, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, Troy Fontenot. Yeah, he's just a versatile offense. He can play inside, he can play outside. I think he just adds a little bit of element that the Seattle Seahawks desperately need in their offensive line if they're going to try to be competitive at all in the NFC West next year.
He's probably got the best feet at the tackle position out of all the tackles.
From there, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock, and this is where I have Terrion Arnold going. They needed secondary help. Everybody in the AFC South is now going to need secondary help because of what the Houston Texans are going to be trotting out. But yeah, Terrion Arnold has becoming a Jacksonville Jaguar. They needed secondary help before they had to deal with Stephon Diggs. They got to deal with it even more now. So.
Yeah, I got him going. Cooper DeJean from Iowa.
We are going to speak Cooper DeJean into the first round into existence. Like we are going to do that here at the Prime.
I got him in the first round too.
I mean, he should be in the first round. He's the best run tackling cornerback in the draft. He's got great athleticism.
There's some concern about his fact that he was injured, banged up a lot of the last season.
But also he can return kicks, return punts. I mean, he doesn't, necessarily have to be on your number one wide receiver, but I mean, yeah, you're gonna need a guy. I mean, I would like him or Kool-Aid McKinstry here. That's not a bad pick too. Here.
That's not a bad. Yeah. To Izzy's point, to Izzy's point, this is a man this was a dude at an Iowa football team that if they scored 10 points a game, that was a good game for them offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, he would have to contribute to the 10 points by getting a decent kick return, punt return, whatever. He was asked to do a lot at Iowa.
And I have him in the first round. I just think that the scouts, that's what the scouts are saying.
And what he and hopefully what he does and what his agent does is, hey, this is a corner. He is not a safety. He's a corner. So keep him at corner. Don't move him. Don't try to be like, well, you might be better at safety. No, I'm a corner. Keep him at corner.
From the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Cincinnati Bengals are now on the clock, and they get the eventual T. Higgins replacement / Tyler Boyd replacement, and former LSU wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Joins Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow there in Cincinnati. Brian Thomas Jr. I also think this is now a bit potent trade up spot there for Buffalo. We're going to talk about that. I did this mock draft before the trade, so it's not factored into this particular mock draft, but it will be in the future one. But Brian Thomas goes to the Cincinnati Bengals at 18.
Same position, different receiver. I got them going Troy Franklin. Izzy, I wholeheartedly disagree with your offensive tackles.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because they signed one in free agency. They got a right tackle in free agency. and then you add that on top of they got Orlando Brown Jr. last year, so like the tackle spot for them is solidified on both sides. So me personally, I don't think they need to go tackle unless you just don't have faith in one of those two guys staying healthy.
He could also you can also put Fuaga at guard too, because he's such a good run blocker at Oregon State. You can also put him at guard. I just looked at it as if whoever they got, I don't know who they got in the offseason, if you can pull it up, but yeah, I mean if just depth at the tackle position. I mean we got to keep Joe Burrow upright. Okay,
yeah, I understand that.
We can't afford for Joe Burrow to be injured again. And so I think adding depth on the offensive line.
I mean, they signed Trent Brown, who's been,
Doug, I mean,
Trent Brown is closer to the end than the beginning. Like way closer to the end.
I like a wide receiver. I like a wide receiver here. If they go for Brian Thomas, it's not a reach at 18 at all.
I agree too. From the Cincinnati Bengals to the Los Angeles Rams, and they are so lucky in my mock draft the way things shook out here. Byron Murphy, the second, is still sitting here. He basically becomes the Aaron Donald replacement. Plug and play for Byron Murphy.
Yes, David Trent.
I'm with David here. I got him.
30. I was thinking of the other. I was thinking of Dwayne Brown. I'm sorry. All right.
Him and Kobe Turner. Him and Kobe Turner are going to be a scary sight for years to come in the middle there for the NFC West. That's all I'm going to say.
100%. TJ.
If I'm the Los Angeles Rams, oh, man, they might go quarterback in the later rounds for sure. But I feel like the earlier you can get one of those guys, like the better.
I heard Spencer Rattler was looking real impressive at his pro day.
I mean, he's supposed to.
I know, but I mean, well, shit. Well, David, hold on. Not every quarterback is looking impressive. Tua's younger brother his draft stock has dropped.
Actually, you know what's funny?
Wasn't all that impressive in college. Like,
he went from possibly being a 4th round pick to probably a 7th round pick.
So you know who? So on my memories today, TJ shared a link to when Chad Kelly got injured during his pro day. On this day, was it like 10 years ago, something like that?
Ago?
Yeah. So your pro day, you can't look bad at your pro day, like when you get hurt immediately and then don't finish.
Well, I just heard Tua's younger brother, was throwing ducks out there. He was underthrowing guys. Like, how do you underthrow guys at your pro day?
That's tough, man.
So if I'm the Rams, to Izzy, to your point, like Spencer Rattler, you can get Spencer Rattler in the 3rd round and be groovy, right? You can. So, but if I'm the Rams, again, this sucks. Like you lose Aaron Donald, you lose Hall of Fame play at the DT spot. If Johnny Newton from U of I is there at 19 and you pair him with the guy y'all just said, Kobe Turner, you're going to be raising hell for whoever's the quarterback in NFC West.
He's long gone in Izzy's mock draft. Long gone.
For the next 10 years. But
I had him going.
Either way, I got him going to
Atlanta.
If it's Johnny Newton or if it's Chop Robinson, if one of those two guys are there at 19, you get either one of them. You solid for the next 10 years. Either way.
I mean, shoot, Johnny Newton's he's a 2-time All-American coming off a Big Ten player.
Defensive player of the year.
He's going top 10.
To the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock, and I have Georgia tackles being reunited. They're in Pittsburgh. As Amarius Mims is the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know they took Broderick Jones last year out of Georgia. They put Amarius Mims at right tackle, and they just continue just having all the offensive tackles from Georgia play there for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, Izzy, I like your pick more than I like. Who's my draft am I looking at right here? This is come on. I just saw the name. I just saw his name. This is Phil Yates. Oh yeah, I like your pick more than I like Phil Yates. Phil Yates has him going Graham Barton out of Duke.
Man, that guy's a versatile offensive line.
He can play tackle and guard.
I mean, I can see it. I again, you will never see me argue teams addressing the guys up front. Like find a combination that works. Keep taking swings at it until you find a combination that works. Pittsburgh is one of those teams for sure. But would I be upset if they paired George Pickens with Brian Thomas Jr.? Absolutely not.
Man, you know what? Honestly, Brian Thomas would fit seamlessly next to George Pickens because he's used to being the secondary guy next to Malik Neighbors. So, I mean, it's just a seamless transition. Plus the fact that he can stretch the field too. And who's the quarterback there? You know, both quarterbacks really have strong arms. Russell Wilson's a great deep ball thrower. I mean, those two guys are gonna love it. You know, getting the ball from
Justin Fields is a really good deep ball
thrower too.
When they let him do it.
Yeah. From the Pittsburgh Steelers, we got the Miami Dolphins on the clock. And Izzy, me and you are on the same wavelength on this pick. We got Jackson Powers-Johnson, the versatile offensive lineman, going to the Miami Dolphins. They basically have to replace a bunch of stuff off their offensive line, including their center and right guard and left guard, I think.
Yeah.
Jackson Powers-Johnson can fill any of those roles on the offensive line.
Any of those roles. I really don't see him falling further than this. I know there's some evaluators out there that are saying that he may drop out of the top 25 because of injury concerns and because he bowed out of, you know, some things at the combine. I think, what did he bow out of? I think he bowed out of, did he bow out with the bench press? He bowed out
Doesn't
of.
Matter. Doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
doesn't matter.
It's like, who cares? Like
he
didn't
bench press. He didn't bench press. I want him off my board. Shut up, Vince McMahon. Anyway, Field Yates has him going Byron Murphy the second out of Texas. You know, they did lose Christian Wilkins in free agency, and in situations like this, you kind of see teams like that lose big players like that. You kind of see them like not panic, but that need becomes almost immediate. You feel me? Like they like their mindset is like, hey, we have to like replace this guy immediately. Like the sooner the better. Like I don't want to call it a panic move because it's not a panic move. Like you're getting a first round DT in the first round, right? A panic move would then be like getting, I don't know, a second or third round rated DT in the first round. Like that's a panic move.
I mean, if Byron Murphy's there at 21, I mean that would be a pretty solid pick, but he's just not available on either of our boards. Like that, he's a fantastic football player. From the Miami Dolphins, we got the Philadelphia Eagles on the click, and Izzy, I'll let you go first with this one.
Man, you know what? I got them going and getting the cornerback, going to get Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. Like I said last time, you know, they have some marquee names, but they just weren't that good in the defensive backfield last season. Adding a guy like Kool-Aid McKinstry, very high IQ, has a 3-year starter since he was a freshman at Alabama, which is, you know, for a defensive player is, you know, kind of rare in my opinion.
Like that's Nick Saban, bro. Like that's
you know, so I go Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think the knock on him is, you know, he played with Terrion Arnold, who took most of the number one guys, you know, but I mean Kool-Aid is amazing. So
I'm going Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson. I'm also driving them to address the cornerback position. They need depth there as it is, and I don't think Darius Slay and Bradbury are going to be there that much longer. So they need somebody to fill that role. Give me Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson.
And they got they just brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson too. So
yeah,
I can see them going to the I can see them getting the DB out of Toledo that y'all high on. Mostly for the simple fact that no matter how good these guys perform in season or at the combine or their pro day or whatever, their talent, like who they play against, will always be held against them. It's bullshit. Yeah. I know. Like we've been like we come from a small, like we went to a small school. We saw guys that had talent that we felt like could have played in the NFL get passed over for the simple fact of, oh, you played at Northern Illinois, you ain't playing nobody. We see it all. Like, so he could easily fall into the later half of this round. And if he's at 22 for the Eagles, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that's a good pick there. To the Minnesota Vikings, who are no longer on the clock in my mock draft, it's the New England Patriots that are on the clock, and they address their quarterback, Michael Penix. I can never pronounce that last name. I'm sorry.
Penix.
Yeah. He ends up becoming the New England Patriots quarterback of the quote unquote future, and because of the trade with Minnesota, they now end up with Roma Dunze and Michael Penix, basically as their quarterback and wide receiver, as they get both those guys in the same draft, just by trading back. So yeah, Patriots take.
Gerard, was it Gerard Mayo already off to
a
good start in New England, getting those two guys?
I'm telling you, man.
I think Patriot paper will be.
David, who'd you have New England? Like, so did you have New England stand at their original pick at 3?
No, I had Minnesota trading up and trading into 3, and Minnesota gave up, 11, 23, and then a third.
So who'd you have them getting at 11?
Roma Dunze.
And now they get Michael Penix. Okay.
Yeah, so they keep the team. Yeah.
Izzy, you have them going Drake May, and then you have them trading. You have a trade.
I had them trading just those 2 picks just to move up to 5.
And you got the Chargers right here at 23.
No, I had the Vikings taking JJ McCarthy.
Right, but I'm talking about this pick, 23.
Oh, this pick right here. Oh,
yeah.
This one is gonna scratch. It's gonna be a head scratcher, but it's a need, in my opinion. And he's this former coach, Mike Sanistril. I know a lot of guys are probably gonna be like, why the hell, Mark Sanistril? You maybe could get him. He's probably a late first rounder, maybe an early second rounder, but I think he's the best nickel corner in the draft. Mm-hmm. And that's a depth need that the Chargers are going to need. He's a guy that has great ball skills. Harbaugh's coached them. And I think looking back on this pick, I think he has Darius Slay potential written all over him. And if you can get a guy like that can, Pro Bowl perennial, cornerback like that, add to your defense, I think that, that looking back, this is going to be a very underrated pick for the Chargers, because I think somebody late in, San Francisco could easily take Mike Sanistril, and they'll end up with a hell of a nickel corner. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's a guy that he might get picked at that point in real life, but in my draft, I'm like, Harbaugh's not going to pass up on his own guy.
Right.
So I got him picking Mike Sanistril.
In Phil Yates' mock, he has a trade too. So he had to trade with between LA and Minnesota too. So Minnesota's on his board at 23, and he has them getting Mitchell out of Texas, which also fits. Like, you did just lose both of your receivers. You have Quentin Johnson and
Joshua Palmer, man. Joshua Palmer's still there.
I said what I said.
Yeah, Joshua Palmer.
No. You mentioned Quentin Johnson, but not Joshua Palmer. Come on. Joshua Palmer's a good football player. I like me some Joshua Palmer out of Tennessee. Come on,
I know. They need them. They need them wide receiver. And you know what's crazy is that the Chargers were able to get, Harbaugh first-hand experience watching Roma Dunze on the other side in the national championship. You know what I mean? So, and hey, I mean, getting his own guy too. I mean, I like this. I actually, I was thinking about a trade with, but the thing is that Brian Thomas was off my board. I was thinking Kansas City would have maybe traded up to for this pick, and I was thinking Kansas City would give them a third and swap picks. So then the Chargers get an extra third, and they swap picks, and they can still get Mike Sanders.
I just don't think the Chargers would trade within the division. But I know it does happen. But I just think it would be.
Yeah, they're not going to trade in the division and be like, oh yeah, you can have Brian Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. To the Cowboys, who are now on the clock, and Izzy, I'll let you go first with the Cowboys on the clock.
Man, so yeah, man, I know I might get some flack for this one, but I got Olu Fashanu going here. I think Dallas runs up to the board
way further. Like, man, let's fight the drop.
Hey, I got him at 24. And just like the need things, I don't know. Just when I'm looking at when I'm going through my mock, I'm just like, yeah, he probably could have went to the Bengals, but he's more of a true tackle than Fuaga. Fuaga's a guy that has shorter arms. You can easily transition him to guard. And then I look at other needs. Like, where did you have him going, David?
I got Fuaga going right now.
No, I'm talking about where did you have Fashanu going?
I have him going to the Giants at 13.
At 13, yeah. I mean,
I had him going higher too.
But I got Fuaga going right here to Dallas Cowboys at 24.
Yeah,
I think he can play guard or tackle.
A little bit.
Okay, so check this out. Phil Yates has a trade between the Niners and the Cowboys for 24. And he has the Niners taking Amarius Mims out of Georgia, and they pretty much view him as the successor to Trent Williams.
I mean, Trent Williams isn't that old, but all right.
He's football old.
Yeah. But
he definitely is football. He's been playing football like
to the Green Bay.
Trent Williams is 35.
To Izzy's Green Bay Packers. Yeah, 35 ain't that old.
That's football.
No, but that's football old. No, that is football old though, David.
Let me have that one.
The great ones like Zeus, Big Zeus.
Let me just have that one.
They play until they're almost damn.
No, David, like 35 isn't old, but it's football old. It
ain't old. It ain't old.
Anyway,
the Green Bay Packers.
I'm going with this pick first. I'm going to be excited when the Green Bay Packers go get our middle linebacker of the future, Peyton Wilson, out of NC State. No more Devondre Campbell. He's a 49er. They're gonna need. I don't really have a lot of faith in Isaiah McDuffie.
No. Seriously, Devondre Campbell he went to the 49ers.
Yeah, he got released. Right. He's a Niner.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's tough.
Learn something new every day.
You did not know that Devondre Campbell was a Niner? Yeah,
I didn't know that either until I read.
Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
He was released. He was released like 2-3 weeks ago.
Why would why would they do that? Okay, never mind. That's a conversation for the group. That's a conversation.
I'm the 49er, and they go get Peyton Wilson here.
Cooper DeJean is the pick for the Green Bay Packers.
I don't like that pick either.
Stays in the Midwest, so they get another corner there as they need to bolster that secondary. So
Cooper DeJean.
Phil Yates has them getting Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma, and what's his name? What's his name's old and hurt all the time.
That guy's he's not even on the roster anymore.
He's not even on the roster. Me personally, I think this is kind of like this is a big question mark in the draft. Like what exactly does Green Bay do at 25? Like I don't.
Well, I mean, if you're one of those teams that missed out on one of those quarterbacks, and the kid from Washington, still I can't pronounce that last name. I'm not even. I just can't. I don't know what. The quarterback, Michael Penix. Like if he's sitting there at 25,
how do you not know how to say Penix?
I don't know.
Hold on.
Every time I look at it, I just think of Ray Phoenix, the guy who's in the AEW, and I cannot pronounce it. Like it just something in my head. I just can't.
Why would you have at 25? You got the Packers maybe trading down and somebody getting Michael Penix here?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if you're somebody, it could really happen. I mean, the benefit of trading up and getting a quarterback in the first round is that extra year. You get the 5th-year option. I mean, there's just all sorts of benefits to trading up. Green Bay doesn't really have a bunch of total super crazy needs. They would benefit more by having more draft capital as opposed to this pick. So
I think Green Bay because who's next is
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, and
I don't want to walk on your mock draft, but there's no way this next guy is just sitting here at 26.
Jared Verse.
Yeah, let's just move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have them taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. They traded away.
20 crazier things have happened. Like
they traded away what's his name after he to the Detroit Lions. So they needed to bolster up that secondary. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a fantastic football player, and he was cornerback 1 before the season started. I'm not really sure exactly what happened. So.
Well, I think in the last mock draft, I might have had the Saints taking. I mean, there's a few guys, there's a few tweaks, but yeah, I did have Jared Verse just because of some needs and some things that have changed in the last couple weeks or so.
Phil Yates has him going Latu out of UCLA. I can see that.
I can see that too.
And Latu actually performed. David performed a lot better than Jared Verse this past season. He had more production.
And David, if you don't like Izzy's mock draft, you're not going to like Phil Yates' mock draft because he has Jared Verse going to Arizona at 27.
Man, I had moving straight into Arizona as they trade with the Houston Texans to move back into the first round. I think this is part of the Will Anderson trade. I have Jared Verse going 8 to the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, shit. You're real high on Jared Verse. You got Jared Verse over Dallas Turner. Okay.
Yeah. To the Arizona Cardinals, I have them taking Graham Barton.
Who is y'all? Who's that y'all? I ain't say shit about Jared Verse over Dallas.
No. I said he had.
Yeah, me.
Oh, him.
I have Graham Barton going to the Arizona Cardinals. I think he just gives you a versatile offensive lineman piece that you can move all over the place.
Izzy has Zach Frazier out of West. Okay, still the same position, just a different player.
Same shit. Well, Graham Barton, I think more of a tackle. You can put him over the guard. He has shorter arms too. He's sick, even though he's 6'7".
I think he will play guard in the NFL.
Yeah, but Frazier, I think Zach Frazier is more versatile. He can play center or guard.
Like,
so it gives you more
quiet as kept. I think like that's the new wave of offensive linemen. Like, bro, like unless you like 6'7" and whatever, like you're like the more interchangeable you are, the better for you.
On top of that, I mean, offensive linemen get injured almost as much as any other position in the NFL. And if you're a guy who's able to swing elsewhere on the offensive line, that's so valuable.
Yeah,
very. So like, unless you just have like the height of like I said, unless you just like 6'5" and taller, it's very rare that you're gonna be anything but a tackle. Depending on
To number 28, where now the Buffalo Bills are on the clock. And real quick, a quick detour. Obviously, the Stephon Diggs trade went down earlier this afternoon as he is now a member of the Houston Texans. Buffalo gets a package of picks that basically is just a headliner by the second-round pick next year. Just real quick thoughts on this trade, and then we'll move to the
I don't,
Well, I said like I said in the group chat, I don't understand what went wrong. According to Stephen A. Smith has been the main one addressing this stuff, and Stephon Diggs kind of tried to shoot him down, basically saying what Stephen A. Smith isn't true. And lo and behold, I understand why you're saying that, because at the end of the day, you were still going to battle with those guys in Buffalo, and you weren't trying to ruffle no feathers, because stuff gets out, they hear all that stuff, they see all that stuff, and you become the focal point. Everything becomes about you. And me personally, I just don't understand what there was to be upset about. Dude, you had 107 catches, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, and when the team needed you dropped the ball. Literally, you dropped the ball.
I know Buffalo is in cap hell, and I know they need to cut some fat there. But getting a second-round pick for Stephon Diggs is just not.
First of all, David, hold on. Let's not act surprised at this type of crap, because remember what happened with DeAndre Hopkins in the middle of his prime.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
They got a can of soda and some chicken wings for him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
what was it, a third-round pick they got for D-Hop?
Yeah,
Arizona.
They got David Anderson, David Anderson,
yeah, the running back, right?
Who did have some promise at the time. His injuries just kind of mangled up his career, but
yeah. So, I didn't like it. I feel like Buffalo, could have, the last mock draft show, and the last mock draft I had them going safety clearing up, because they got Jordan Poyer, who else is the other DB that is not there?
Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde's not there, so they needed some at. So I had them going.
They also released Sedarius White too.
But so I had them going DB. So DB is going to be a need, I guess, in the second round for them. But I could easily see them moving up.
I understand getting a second round pick, but it has to be in this draft. What does a second round pick next year do for you? Nothing. It doesn't make any sense whatsoknow.
Yeah, I need the second round.
This is a team that still wants to win a title, on paper, right?
I don't know about that anymore.
I mean, as long as you have continued to have Josh Allen, you have a chance to win the title.
You win that window.
And I mean, this is why having a quarterback on a rookie scale contract is so valuable. It's like the Houston Texans, like you can bring in these contracts.
Like that's kind of the irritating thing about this whole situation. They're like, oh, the Buffalo Bills window is closed. It's closed. Like how?
No.
Well, no, it's not necessarily closed, but I don't know how this definitely doesn't make them better. They're gonna have to swing some things. Who's available out there?
They're still the best team in their division, even with this trade and even with what's going on with the roster. And with that being said,
I mean, we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers try
to give me the Buffalo Bills still. The rest of the New York Jets roster is a mess.
Okay. Adonai Mitchell's here.
I'm going Chop Robinson. They haven't got anything out of Von Miller. They need to get something out of that other edge rushing position. Chop Robinson could be one of those guys that didn't put up great college numbers, will be a beast in the NFL.
Give me Adonai Mitchell from Texas.
Xavier Worthy.
To the Lions, who are now on the clock. Hey, obviously, I did my mock draft before.
Speaking on Buffalo, real quick before you go to OBJ, I mean, I'd be calling them as well. I'd be calling his agent. Hey, OBJ, let's come. Let's do some things.
To the Detroit Lions, I think they need to shore up their defense a little bit still. Latu is still here. I got him going to the Detroit Lions, which would be nasty with
him and Aiden
Hutchinson and the other dude
James Houston.
Yep,
that's exactly why I don't have them going edge. Like you got them going edge too.
He can play tackle.
I actually got him going Chop Robinson, the guy that David had going to Buffalo. I got him going Chop Robinson next to Aiden Hutchinson for the same reasons that David just mentioned about Latu. I think you can't have too many edge rushers, and I think is the team that
especially since that secondary is going to continue to be suspect. So
you can go DB here, or you can. I mean, offensively they're going to be straight. But
I mean, I can also see them in a scenario where they go wide receiver too. I mean, like I don't even Mitchell. I legit thought about putting Mitchell here. I haven't fallen out of the first round.
Or Troy Franklin.
Yeah.
Who's here? Because you got Troy. You still got Jameson Williams, who didn't play a first half of the season because of the betting stuff. So you get a whole full off season. Him starting the whole season. You got to see.
Stay out of trouble, jackass.
Stay out of trouble type of deal. Yeah. So Jameson Williams. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Who else is the other guy? The third wide receiver. Is it
Josh Reynolds?
Josh Reynolds, yeah. And so you still got you still got the tight end.
I mean, you could address wide receiver later. I mean, it's
you could go get a guy like Keon Coleman. You could go get a guy Xavier Leggett. You can go get you go get Jalen Polk, who is the other wide receiver in Washington. Next to
Josh Reynolds is
he was a free agent. I don't think they were.
He's in Denver. He's in Denver
now. Yeah.
But Field Yates has them going Cooper DeJean, and with the stuff about Cameron Sutton, you lose CJ Gardner Johnson, and I don't blame them flat out just releasing Cameron Sutton.
Me either. Not only was he not good last year.
Great point, TJ.
He was not only was he not good last year, all the off the field stuff was just sorry, dude. You're not worth the liability.
Hey, Izzy, and then on top of that, to make matters worse, you just go on the run, you just flat out disappear.
I mean, he was on the run when he was in their practice facility, the cops were looking for him. His career's over. Moving on for the Detroit Lions, I got the Baltimore Ravens on the clock, and I have them addressing their offensive line. I got the kid out of Oklahoma, Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, going here to the Baltimore Ravens as they shore up that offensive line a little bit.
Man, I got them going wide receiver here. They definitely need the depth at wide receiver. Troy Franklin's still here. Pair him next to Zay Flowers. I mean, Odell's not there anymore. I don't really trust anybody else outside of Zay Flowers.
Don't do Rashad Bateman like that, bro. Come
on. I'm gonna do Rashad Bateman just like that.
Don't do Rashad Bateman like that.
He had 32 catches last year. Let's go.
6'3", can stretch the field vertically. That's exactly what Baltimore
they do. They do need that. They need to start. Hey, I'll give you that. They do need to start with the 5'10" and unders.
Yeah. TJ, who got the Ravens taken?
I don't hate the Troy Franklin pick, but we also got to keep in mind they do got arguably the best tight end duo in the league now, with the emergence of Isaiah Likely. We did not see that coming, right? No one saw that coming. But Phil Yates has him taking Kingsley Suamaisha out of BYU, and I don't know too much about him, so I got to do my research on him.
Real late.
What'd you say?
I said BYU plays like 9-10 o'clock at night most nights.
Yeah. I'm usually at work when he.
Yeah, and I'm usually probably in bed maybe.
Moving on for the Ravens, we got the San Francisco 49ers on the clock, and I got Johnny Newton, the defensive who falls all the way to 31 and just falls into the San Francisco.
You want to talk about me? You want to
falling into the San Francisco 49ers lap, and they're just like, "Let's go, baby, you're ours." Especially since the experiment with what's his name didn't work out, they just flat out released him. There you go. Yeah, so they get another guy to be the defensive tackle. Man, just think about that.
I could see, I could see a scenario where they reach for Brandon Fisk here, the defensive tackle out of Florida State, who had an excellent combine. So I could see that, but I have them going cornerback as well. I have them going Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. They just need the depth at the DB spot. It's hard for a team that has very little holes to get every position. But DB,
you kind of saw the hole that they tried to fill with when Hufanga went out, and there were cases where it's you can clearly see they missed him. And then on top of that, you lose what's his name got hurt in the Super Bowl. What's his name escaping me?
The dude that tore his Achilles. You talking about the linebacker? Greenlaw.
So I can definitely and they went with Oren Burks, and it was pretty much good night Irene, because
that guy's not even on the roster anymore.
Exactly. But so again, back to Phil Yates' mock, he has the Cowboys on the clock because they traded San Francisco traded up. So this is Dallas at 31, and he has them getting Jordan Morgan, the offensive tackle out of Arizona. Yeah. I can 100% see the Cowboys I can see them doing the classic the Raider reach here and getting a running back. That's because that just screams Jerry Jones is taking
Jonathan
over.
Brooks.
I mean, maybe, but
or
they would 100% grab Blake Corum
out of Michigan.
Time. Yeah, 100%.
It's your mock draft. I think that they can get him a little later.
Oh no, I'm agreeing with you. But I'm just saying I can see them doing something like that. I also see the Raiders doing the classic Raider reach on a running back too, because
I got the Raider reach going on with JJ McCarthy. So
I think as good as Christian McCaffrey is. Oh wait, you talking about Dallas?
This is Dallas.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They don't have a clear running back.
They have a running back right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's that guy. What's his name? Who was in the XFL?
Right, Tony Pollard is gone.
Pollard's gone. Yeah, I can see that. They got the kid. They got the little kid, the little guy out of Kansas State. Still, I think.
Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn, and they have the other guy. I forget his goddamn name.
Yeah. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Whatever. Moving on to Kansas City, who are the reigning Super Bowl champs, and I have them. Obviously, they lost Ladarius Sneed earlier last week, and he wasn't traded to the Indianapolis Colts, even though I said that over and over again. I have them going corner here because I got to replace him. He's going to be tough to replace, but I'm going to go to Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri as the cornerback that tries to replace the shoes of Javarius Sneed. I don't understand, in my humble opinion, why the Kansas City Chiefs didn't just pay Ladarius Sneed. He is good.
They couldn't. It was either that was the conversation pretty much the whole season. It was between him and Chris Jones.
All right, well, yeah, okay. Well, I mean that decision was easy, but
I'm paying Chris Jones,
and not to mention, Kansas City has been knocking it out of the park with drafting corners. I mean, Trent McDuffie has been phenomenal since they drafted him. So this will just be another guy who's plug and play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
On my draft, I seriously consider them trading up to try and get a guy like a Brian Thomas or whatever. I just don't see them getting Lad McConkey here because he's a slot guy, and I necessarily don't think they need any more slot guys. I think they need a guy like Xavier Leggett, who's a big outside wide receiver.
I mean, we'll see what's going on with Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, you gotta see what's going
on.
With
that was one thing is Rasheed Rice. We don't know what his future is going to look like after. I mean, I've been told he's been cooperating with police and everything after the accident.
After the fact, like
after
I know.
You made yourself crashed and left.
Right, you made yourself look worse because you ran and like your saving grace is this. It's not a Henry Ruggs situation. No one died. No one got hurt.
Very true.
Yeah.
There was a minor injury, but it was not like.
So what you gonna get? You're gonna get in trouble for three things. You're gonna get in trouble for racing the cars. You're gonna get in trouble for leaving the scene, and you're gonna get in trouble for somebody driving the rented car that was in your name. So when you rent a car, can't nobody drive that car but you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so yeah, we don't know what his future is looking like, but I got them going tackle. For some reason, look, JC Latham's still here. He could be off my board.
Boy, that's crazy.
No, it's not necessarily crazy. I mean, there's some guys, there's some guys that are picks that are need picks that JC Latham could have went to. I could have seen JC Latham go to the Packers. But I think they really need a linebacker. Obviously, Devontae Campbell's not there. Yeah. So so I'm going.
I don't hate it. I just
no. You don't think? I
don't think he's gonna fall that far.
Real talk.
Yeah, I mean, you have Johnny Newton falling all the way to 30.
I know. That's what's crazy about back drafts too. That's how they go.
As much as I've given him praise, and I'm a big fan of Braxton Jones, I wouldn't mind JC Latham at 9. Wouldn't mind him at left tackle.
Yeah, that is true for the Bears. Yeah. It is very true. If he's there at 32, I'll be surprised too. He's on my.
I would be legit shocked if he's there at 32. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. This has been our mock draft 2.0. Thank you very much for going through the whole mock draft. Please like, share, subscribe to the podcast. We're swinging back into the National Basketball Association tomorrow with the crossover episode. So keep an eye out for all that content. I'm David Huppman, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins. Gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, baby.
We could use it, baby, because it's 34 degrees and snowing here in Fort Wayne.
That's some bullshit. I'm sick of this shit.
We'll see you guys all tomorrow. Stay safe.
On the beach and drink some Mai Tais, baby.